So how can you recognize the early stages of the breakdown of the global environment? Well, the first thing that's going to happen is that we're going to use up a lot of our resources, and our exponentially increasing population size is going to mean the remaining resources getting spread out among more and more people. That's going to make us keep running into recessions that get worse and worse. The Club of Rome's prediction of pollution is playing out in the greenhouse effect. The rising temperatures will melt glaciers and hold more water vapor in the atmosphere. That will mean coastal farmland flooding, coastal aquifers getting poisoned with salt water, glacially fed rivers drying up, droughts reducing crop yields in inland farmland, and a lot of forests being destroyed by fires. As a lot of environmental scientists are saying now, we have about 10 years left to get our greenhouse gas emissions down below what they are now, in spite of the fact that our population is still growing. If we don't, we're going to start chain reactions where the warming climate will start releasing greenhouse gases into the air all by itself, like the Amazon rainforest drying out and burning down, and the tundra in Canada and Siberia melting and releasing methane, and so on. Then there won't be anything left we can do to stop the greenhouse effect from escalating. You can find this in 6 Degrees by Mark Linus, and With Speed and Violence by Fred Pierce. The next thing that's going to happen is that a lot of men won't be able to make enough income to support families. So they'll do what men have always done and go take their chances sailing the high seas and settling new continents. Except we've already done that, so there is nowhere left for anyone to go. So men are going to do the other thing men have always done and pick up their wooden clubs and go compete against each other for resources. Except they aren't going to be using wooden clubs. They're going to be using pistols and shotguns in the inner cities. And they're going to be using assault rifles and suicide bombs between countries. And some of them are going to stay home and get college educations and high-paying careers and houses in the suburbs, where they'll pay the police and the military to carry the guns instead, and they'll put bumper stickers on their SUVs that say, "Support our troops." On November 6th, in front of the Arizona State Capitol, there were about 50 Nazis protesting immigration, chanting "Sieg Heil" and saying we should kill all the Mexicans, Jews, and homosexuals. The rise in white supremacism in America and Europe is another warning sign of the environmental crisis. The Nazis came to power in Germany because the economic situation drove so many Germans to desperation. One extremely simple solution to your country's resources being spread out among too many people is to eliminate some people. That's exactly what they did in Rwanda, too. If we still don't get our economic impact on the environment under control, sooner or later, our economic impact is going to be regulated by the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: war, famine, death, and plague. And no, the fact that I'm making a Bible reference doesn't prove that the people who wrote it had magical access to ultimate truths of the universe. On the contrary, I'm pointing out that even they witnessed the inevitable biological results of people overexploiting the environment. People fighting over resources, overpopulation and overfarming resulting in farmland not producing enough food to feed everyone, overcrowding leading to poor sanitation, hunger leading to weakened immune systems, and both of those combining to cause outbreaks of plagues, and a lot of people dying as a result. That's how population explosions get limited in every species in the animal kingdom. You can find this part of the story in One with Nineveh by Dr. Ehrlich. People are already fighting over farmland down in Mexico. Mexico City is one of the largest and most polluted cities in the world. And every U.S. border city is being defended against Mexican refugees by a Berlin Wall. You can read all about who the rebels are and what they're fighting for in Ya Basta by Subcomandante Marcos. Now, when you put all this together, you can see why all those conservative talk show hosts keep whining and moaning about socialism. In a capitalist economy, rightful ownership is defined by the physical control of resources, which is regulated by laws against theft. When you take control of natural resources, by definition, you make them do something other than whatever they were doing before. What all natural resources do prior to human intervention is to fulfill critical roles in the cycle of the environment. What the Founding Fathers didn't understand, and what most Americans still don't understand, is how much we all depend on the environment for our lives. That makes a healthy environment the rightful property of everyone. But that's not in the U.S. Constitution. A socialist economy is a regulated economy, which doesn't prove that any socialist economy to this point has ever been regulated very well. This is simply to say that, whatever name it goes by, environmental sustainability is going to depend on economic planning by competent people. America has had the luxury of not depending on economic planning to this point, because to this point, we have still had enough of an environment left for inherently self-interested people to exploit it to maximize their genetic survival. But that period of history is now behind us.